We're not Disney adults. We're just adults that like Disney.
We're not haters. We just have opinions.
We're not cat ladies, but we are childless. We're two entertainment creatives exploring culture at the intersection of fandom and our professional careers.
I'm Kalen.
I'm Jacob.
And this is The Childless Millennials.
The Childless Millennials episode. Big Dave. Clack you've ever clacked.
I'm giggling because you weren't even talking into the mic.
Oh, yeah, no. Oops.
The mic was in your lap. We're clearly professional.
Hi, Kalen.
Hi, Jacob.
How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good. I've had I'm not going to lie,
Mhm.
not to start this off on a negative note.
Tell me.
July was a rough month.
Yep.
I got so many, really difficult no's that were hard to not take personal.
Mhm.
But this is just, the life that we live in, the career that we've chosen, is that sometimes you will go, 3 weeks without a day off, and then other times you look at your calendar and you're like, I have nothing on the calendar.
Will I ever work again?
No, literally, I have...
I guess I need to get a new degree now.
Yeah, and so Connor and I did a cruise, a short cruise contract with this vocal group that we sing with, and then the gigs come rolling in
Uh-huh.
while you're
While you're gone.
Oh yeah,
Always
they were
happens.
Disney in concert was like, can you fly to Salt Lake? It just always happens like that.
It always does.
You
But,
know.
sometimes I like to tell myself, whether or not this is true, I don't know. But sometimes I like to tell myself that, maybe saying no in those moments makes you, seem more desirable.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
You had to tell Disney concerts no,
Yeah,
which,
I know.
does, kind of, in a weird, that, weird, reverse psychology way,
Right.
it makes, oh, he's booked and busy.
Right.
And sometimes there can be that thing in our industry where it's if you're too available, people start to question why. It's weird, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's a little bit of a positive spin of
No, that's
it's okay
very
that you had to
valid.
say no to some things because
Yes.
the ask will come again,
Right.
and it gives you a little sense of oh, I'm not available.
Right. It's weird because it's it's such a myth that everything we do is something we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And so then I feel like sometimes I fill my schedule with the true gigs.
Mhm.
And then you're like, now I'm so far away from
Yeah.
doing.
We fill our schedules with the stuff that we have to do.
Yeah.
And the other layer to that is that we are performers with integrity. So it is not often or likely that we would choose the want to over the thing that we've already committed to.
Right.
That's just, and a lot of people do. And I think that sometimes that can also not be good for your reputation of I'm giving up this gig that I just had to do something better.
Right.
And you can only do that so many times before people think you're flaky.
Right.
Right.
Did you have how was your July?
Awful.
Okay.
Not awful.
Okay.
No, I'm being dramatic. Personally, very fulfilling.
Good.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times. Professionally, July was probably the worst month I've had in 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. I started performing professionally as a singer July 2014. So I have literally been a professional performer for a decade. July 17th. That's my anniversary. That was my first day in frog choir in Universal Studios. And I barring COVID, I have not had a worse month. I had 2 gigs in July.
Yeah. There's this weird trickle down thing happening right now where people at the top don't have work, so then they start tearing down what they'll do. Oh, maybe I'll do this commercial or I'll do this thing, and then the people that would do those, everybody's kind of lowering their bar of the gigs that they would take, which then just throws off the performing economy.
Yeah, no, that's
gigs,
very true.
You know? But I will say, it then things looked up a little bit with, because D23 was one of those, this is I said like
So
this. It was like a
cool.
"this is why we do it" moment. The other thing I was going to tell you though, which I don't know, our podcast is news, so who knows like if I'll get in trouble for this, but I'm doing a Club 33 special event. Did you know this?
Okay, so I have this memory of somebody telling me they were performing at Club 33.
Oh.
But I don't know if it was you.
I don't think it was me.
I don't think it was you.
Oh, so for Club 33, they do like a specific event just for like the Club 33 members, obviously, but for Halloween they do a seance dinner.
Shut the front door.
So I'm one of the 3 hitchhiking ghosts. Fun, right?
I'm gonna vomit and I need a membership immediately.
I'm like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but we'll
cut it out if we can.
We'll apologize. So we're asked forgiveness instead of
I was literally just talking to my friend Yuli the other day. You know Yuli. About how like we know people who have access to Club 33, but we would never ask because like if you offer, the answer is yes, but I would never ask somebody. And now I'm like, bitch, we're asking.
Oh yeah. Well, also, you know that we're going. Connor got.
Are you?
Yes. So he knows somebody, and because it's my 33rd birthday.
Well, so I want to go next year for my 33rd birthday.
Okay. Yeah. So
yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm now excited because I'm gonna like meet everybody like working this event.
Yeah.
And then when I'm there as a guest,
birthday.
I'm like, hook me up with some like dessert or whatever.
Something I learned about Club 33 the other day that I didn't know, obviously, because I've never been.
I have.
Is I didn't know that like when there are a lot of like people of status in the club, they will like actively keep you away from people's tables.
Oh.
So I'm not gonna drop any names, but it's D23. So you can imagine the type of people that were in Club 33 this past weekend. And people get up and go to another table to talk to other guests and, blah, blah, blah. And like servers and other cast members were coming over like, hey, are they bothering you? You need to go back to your table.
They have an extremely strict, they have an
Yes.
extremely strict, like, no photo or video policy. I think because of that, because one of our stage managers, as they're preparing for the event, because they change it a little, they haven't done this specific one. They didn't do it last year, but they did it 2 years ago. And, like, the stage manager couldn't even get, like, photos of the restaurant to, like figure out the specs of the event. Like, it's like a whole thing, like, to get that approved.
Because I think, like, I don't know, again, this is all just things I've heard. I think you can take photos in certain areas.
Oh, sure.
No videos anywhere.
Yes, yeah. I don't know. It's crazy.
It's super private.
But I'm excited.
I
went
exciting.
Once.
Congratulations.
Like several years ago, but I'm happy that Connor hooked us up for my 33rd.
That's so exciting.
But yeah, so that happened, and then D23.
Mm-hmm.
Should we just dive in? Can I just tell you all about it?
Yes,
tell me everything. Saving it for the pod.
Because I want to know everything from your perspective as like someone who performed during the legend ceremony and like that, because I have thoughts and opinions as a fan of other things that happened.
Right.
Go.
Well, and we were sort of talking about the like it's the serendipitousness of this episode is right. Like we keep talking about like the intersection of being a professional and a fan, and this is sort of like the pinnacle of that, because like I was working it, but obviously excited and like this is become such a huge event. I mean, you did Comic-Con.
It's enormous.
Yeah. So we were asked to perform the Dapper Dans. I was one of the Dans they asked to honor Martha Blanding, who is this like legendary like first Black everything at the park. But like, so at the Honda Center, like this was the first time that they did stuff there, like on such a big scale, It was
huge.
It was crazy.
Seeing the pictures and the videos, I was like, is this a Taylor Swift concert? Like, what's happening?
The first time I walked on that stage, I was like, this is what Beyonce.
Yes.
I was like, Superdome. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I am Dapper Beyonce.
Literally. Yeah. The mic guy actually told. So Friday was like the movies and whatever like performance thing at the Honda Center, and he said that he set a personal record. He mic'd 137 people in the span of, I forget what time he said, but he divided it out and it was 90 seconds a mic.
Wow.
So for like, it was like an hour and a half straight. Like
Yeah.
all he was doing was micing people up.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Like that's how
Yeah.
absolutely enormous it
Yeah.
was. But yeah, I was lucky because we got a rehearsal. Like Saturday, they like did not. I mean, it was very like they all got there the day I figured it out. We had the rehearsal like a few days before, which was great. But sound like I think because of all of the feeds of the mics and then the orchestra on Saturday was like 70. I think that they were just like overloaded with channels, so we had in-ears and they were like going in and out the whole time. Yikes. And not like like in for 2 seconds, out for 5 seconds, but I was like, we're singing a cappella. We have to have in-ears.
You have
because the reverb
and the
is
slapback in a venue like that is like it's like it can be like up to a full second delay.
Oh yeah, it's like so bad.
So just for context, I'm gonna explain. So for anybody who doesn't know, like when you have in-ears, so it's like a direct feed of like your mic and vocalists that you're singing with or like instrumentalists that you're performing with, and in venues that are huge like that in the Honda Center, from where you're standing and performing and the audio is being projected, there like the echo effect from the back of the room can be like up to a second difference from what you're singing live. So if you don't have in-ears and you can't hear yourself, there's no sense of time, because by the time something has come out of your mouth and it gets back to your ears, like that scene in The Grinch where he's like, I'm going to whisper.
Right.
So by the time my voice reverberates off the wall, it bounces back to me. I won't be able to hear it.
What a brilliant way to explain in-ears.
It's that. If you don't have in-ears, you're an idiot.
I'm dead. Also, it was like when we were wearing the in-ears, because we were getting the direct feed of all the packages, the video packages they were playing. And so like we were hearing it a second before we were seeing it, like crazy.
Yep.
But I was really proud of myself in this rehearsal, I will say, because like I've done enough of these things to know. So they were like, do you guys need in-ears not? And like they all kind of looked at each other. I was like, we need in-ears. And they're like, okay, and we'll give you this in your feed. And I was like, we don't need anything except each other's voices.
Correct.
Like and we'll probably only wear one. So we don't need I like really kind of like took the leadership.
Good.
In that, because then even somebody was like, oh, are we sure we want to use them? And I was like, it's easier to cut it than add it. So just say yes.
Say yes.
And then if right before we go out we don't want to wear it, you can take it out.
Yeah.
But the sound was I was really worried, because then I watched the cast members could preview or watch the Parks like panel, which was a gag, because I turned it on and it was Mad Tea Party, which like that's not you were not here for that. So like that's not part of your culture, I don't think, right?
No, I have.
Okay. So, which also shout out to like all of our friends that did Mad Tea Party and didn't tell us, because they know I have the biggest mouth on the planet. It was like John Flanagan, Danny Carey, Todd McCall. I was like, wow, like none of these bitches kept this a secret for that thing. But he was playing with his ears the whole time, and I was like, crap. And then I was messaging him after, and he was like, I couldn't, like, it kept cutting in and out for him. And then I was talking to Rachel Potter after as well, and she was like, the sound was like, so I was like, like going into Sunday, which was nice to at least like, because none of us like knew anybody was performing, but like then afterwards we can talk. But it ended up being fine. But anyway, so that's all the lead up to Sunday. But then Sunday, it was wild because we were like the talent.
Yeah.
And so we literally were like, our dressing room said like Dapper Dans. And then across the hall was like the Princesses. And then down the hall, Harrison Ford. And then across from him, Bob Iger. Like it was like, it's just like crazy. And then we did the rehearsal. It was great. Derek was great. We ended up I got to chat with him for a little bit, which I'm obsessed with him, and he was so lovely too. Yes. Like we were just chatting about, he was like, yeah, the first D23 I ever worked was when they announced Modern Family.
Okay.
So that must have been like a while ago.
Yeah.
But he was like, it's just turned into like such a crazy thing.
It's so different.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were chatting, and then like Kelly Ripa was getting her like final touches done. And he was like, hi, Kelly. And she was like, I'm covered in body makeup. I can't give you a like It was just like, oh, Jamie Lee, like all these people, like
Yeah.
everywhere. And then the performance like went well.
Yeah.
I was like
It
very
was
happy.
fantastic.
Thank you. I was very happy. And
Y'all
but
sounded really good.
well, so I
It
think
sounded
that
really good.
that as the weekend went on and they got to delete the channels from the previous nights, like
it
we
got
weren't,
better and
we
better.
weren't like really cutting
I
out, so we
see,
actually
I
got to hear
see.
each other, which was nice. But the one thing that they cut from the broadcast was that she's older and she was arrived in a wheelchair. She doesn't like
Martha.
Yes,
Yeah.
Martha. And so we like present to her and then like Derek goes to help her up the stairs. But like it was like stare. Like it was taking a while. And so then Diedrich like went down and like to her other side and then him and
Aw.
Derek like helped her up the stairs, which was just so poetic.
I love Diedrich so much.
Yes.
Like that feels correct.
Yeah, it was so like poetic and such a like Black moment because she was, the first Black ambassador, this
she was
manager,
the first Black tour
everything.
guide. She was the first Black manager.
Yes.
Like, all these kinds of things.
Yeah,
Incredible.
and like, the Dapper Dans have predominantly been a white group for so long. And so to have Diedrich there, like, as, representing us, and then he said that he had like his mom's voice in his head be like, child, you better go help her up the stairs. Like, so he went, and it was just such a like special
I'm gonna
moment.
cry.
I know.
So cute.
I know.
Oh,
It was
I love
like
that.
and they cheered louder for her than like Harrison
Anybody.
Ford.
Yeah.
Like the whole arena like knew who she was. And
Mhm.
it was special because like that is who that matters to her.
Yeah.
Like this is no shade to any of the legends at all, but some of them are acquired Disney legends. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like, they didn't ever do a Disney project. Disney bought the studio that they did.
Right. Well, but I also think too, at a fan event, because like D23 is an official fan event. Sure, we're all fans of Harrison Ford and Miley Cyrus and Jamie Lee. Like they're incredible. They are these amazing celebrities who are known around the world. But someone like her is so like. Her role is absolutely legendary, which is why she was honored, right? The things that she accomplished as a Disney cast member, she paved the way for so many other people. But like my grandma, who's a huge Disney fan, has been going to Disney parks, for 30 years, would have no idea who she was.
Right.
So I think seeing Disney honor someone like her who deserves to have her legacy represented and recognized and platformed in that way really resonates with Disney fans because it's like she is people like her. She is the heart of Disney. We wouldn't have Disney the way that we know it. We wouldn't have the opportunity to be fans the way that we are without people like her.
Yeah. And like to build on that too, that's why, to take a like quick digression, like Susan Egan's post about Nikki Hirata was like the sweetest thing ever because like Nikki Hirata, who's like one of my besties and is a costumer at Disney, he is amazing. And so the fact that she was like, here's like somebody you like don't know exists, but like he did the costumes and styled like 95% of everything on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like literally everything. And so he built Susan Egan's dress from scratch.
I know. He's so talented.
Yeah. And
she's also the kindest woman.
So
like
listen.
her making that post, I didn't realize it was, I don't know, because like you can collaborate on Instagram.
Right.
So I didn't know who had posted it. So I was just like, oh my God, Nikki, commented. And she responded and she was like, hey, Kalen.
Oh, yeah.
She and I have worked together before.
I love
that. We're friendly. Let me put it that way. I don't want to overstate it. We've worked together before. We're friendly. I know Susan. But she responded and she was like, hey, Kalen. And I was like,
oh my God,
that's
obsessed. Also, I just have to say, I have officially forgiven Susan Egan. I've actually held a grudge against her for like 15 years.
Tell me.
So I was 13 years old.
Uh-oh.
She's doing this cabaret at like the low stop.
Your whole body language. She said, It's a monologue.
I've been so mad at her for so many years. She did this cabaret at the local Jewish community center in San Diego, and it was called Susan Egan, the Belle of Broadway.
Okay.
What did she sing from Beauty and the Beast? Nothing. She sang, "Little town, it's a quiet village. Every day, like the one people, little town for the little people, waking up to say, oh, it was such a wonderful time doing Beauty." That was all she sang. And I was like, Mama, your cabaret is called the Belle of Broadway, and you're not going to give me Home or A Change in Me? I was
13-year-old
furious.
Jacob was pissed.
Oh, yeah. And then sang like every possible song from Thoroughly Modern Millie, which she did do on Broadway. And I was like, this is not the name of your show. The name of your show is the Belle of Broadway.
I wonder if it was like a rights thing or a licensing thing. Like maybe she wasn't allowed to. I don't know.
I think that this is like, again, what we talk about. I think that she was like, there's this weird thing, right, of trying to like distance yourself.
Which she really struggled with after she played Belle.
Yeah, because then it's like, I do. And she's had the most amazing career in the sense that like to play Belle and then also get to play Sally Bowles in Cabaret. Like she's been somebody that's been able to have like a diversity of.
She like spans the gamut.
Yeah. But then honestly recently is when I feel like she was like, I'm going full in. She like took a page out of Jodie Benson's book. Yeah. Who Jodie Benson was like, I am Ariel.
Correct.
And like so I was
an icon.
Yeah. So I was walking back to the dressing room like after our dress rehearsal, and Jodie Benson was like standing in the hallway for us, like the cheer squad. She was like, "Yay!" And I was staring at her like this. I was like,
losing it.
And then she like saw my face, and which is probably the face she gets like all the time. So she just like reached out her arms and like gave me a hug, and I was like, I'm a super fan. And she was like, I'm a super fan of you.
Okay. Can I quickly tell you my Jodie Benson story?
Yes.
Okay. I've never told this story like publicly. Like my friends and family know this story, but I've never talked about it, and I don't know why.
I'm excited.
Okay. It's 2022. D Capella is performing at a media event in Disney World. And we were told, like, Jodie Benson is here. She's going to be on stage. She's coming off stage and you guys are going on. And we were like, okay. In my mind, I'm like, thank you for preparing me, because I think I would have lost my mind if Jodie Benson just appeared. So thanks for telling me. So we're waiting backstage and we hear the applause. So they're like, okay, Jodie's coming through. And we're like, okay. And again, I come from a theme park background. And even with D Capella, like we've been in many situations with all kinds of like Disney celebrities and entertainers and whatever. And like, I'm a fan, but you got to keep it professional. Like I've said.
Yeah.
Born to be a fangirl, forced to be a professional. So I'm standing there and I'm leading us out. So I'm in front of the line. She comes off stage and I'm just expecting like a, hi, how are you? Because I've done that many times with many other people, just like, hi, an acknowledgement. Yeah. She walked straight up to me and she was like, Kalen, it's so nice to meet you. And hugged me. I have chills. I'm going to cry. And I literally went, you're Jodie Benson. And she was like, you're Kalen. And I was like, how do you know my name? And she was like, I love your music. My family and I, we listen to D Capella. Your version of Into the Unknown is she knew. And I could have died that moment and I would have never been happier in my whole life. It was crazy. And like that just, and I'm not, I don't mean to like, I am bragging a little, but I don't mean to brag about it. I mean that just to say like, sometimes we distance the performer from the performance, right? But people like her and people like Susan Egan are really like truly deserving of the accolades that they get because they're deeply, deeply good women. They're so kind.
So I feel like Jodie Benson is like revolutionized and led the charge on like, it's honestly giving RuPaul of like find your thing and then like capitalize on it.
Yeah.
Like she's like, I'm the voice of Ariel. I will appear everywhere. Like she's literally made a career off of that one
It's
thing.
also very authentic to her.
Yes, yeah. And
it's like her and Ashley Eckstein, who is she was the voice of Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars, like Star Wars animated series. And she also started her universe, the brand, like the clothing brand. But she's done the same thing. Like her and Jodie are like, I am this character. I will always be this character. I will go anywhere and do anything to represent this because I love it.
Yeah. I mean, I know of people who have played iconic characters in pop culture who want nothing to do with that character.
You can say Harrison Ford and Han Solo.
No, I don't know him personally.
No, me either. But anytime he's asked about playing Han Solo, it's like a thing where he's like, oh, that thing.
Yeah,
like,
no, but I do know of somebody that I'm like a degree of separation from.
Okay.
That's all I can say. That if people go up to this person and they say, are you, let's say it's Ariel, are you Ariel? That they will say, no, and then say their real name.
Oh.
As like this boundary thing of like, that was a character that I played. But what I love with Jodie Benson is she was like,
yes.
Yeah, like because you're right.
Like we'll literally start singing.
Right, and it's just that she like recognizes the gift of it and she's never not been grateful. And so she's like, I'll meet any, like she reshares every picture. I don't know. There's just something about the embracing of that I like really respect. And also, this was another thing I wanted to bring up today because this is very on topic with what we're talking about because you talked about bragging. There were certain conversations that I had with certain people around D23 that it was this like it was just like such a mess, like the process of it or whatever. And I was like, you love it.
Yeah.
Stop acting like
But also, when has a live performance on that scale ever not been a mess?
Oh, right. But what I mean is that it's like you can't give it, like there is something about giving into the fandom or the thing of giving into the excitement of it that then culture says like that's less than. Like you have to have this like unbothered attitude. And I don't get that.
Me either. I mean, we had talked about that before though, about like people who are in these spaces and perform and represent these different fandoms, but have no attachment to the fandom.
Right.
That then they feel like they're too cool to like participate in it. And it's like,
I'm just like, I'm not gonna like shy away from asking somebody like, can you take a picture of me with the sign that says Dapper Dan's on my dressing room and be like,
correct.
You know what I'm never not gonna do that.
We'll insert the photos for the video on YouTube, if that's cool.
I actually forgot to say it.
So he's a liar.
No, but I did that when I was unbunked. When I was unbunked, I was like, you know, like I'm always gonna. I don't know why, but I do think our generation is reclaiming that.
Yeah.
You know, of like the millennial generation is like, no, like we're not gonna like have this fake chill about being in an environment that is really exciting.
I have zero chill. I met the voice actor who plays Dr. Doofenshmirtz the other night.
Yes. What's his name? The creator.
Daniel.
Yes.
Is it Povenmire?
Oh,
is that how you pronounce it?
Povenmire.
Povenmire.
Povenmire. So. Yeah.
Yeah. Met him the other night. Had zero chill about it.
That's
and
amazing.
He was so sweet. He's so kind. He was like, yeah, like I don't know. I just never really expected people to like recognize me or know who I am. But then I started posting on TikTok, and now like a lot of people know who I am. And I was like, yeah, I definitely know who you are. I'm not even gonna pretend like I don't.
Right. And it's not even like these people are famous to me. It's just like, wow, I have like such respect for your work. Like,
respect for your work. And like I think for me a lot of that comes from, and I think maybe I had said this when we were talking about Comic-Con, or I had a conversation with my best friend about it, but like a lot of it comes from really having a deep well of respect and also appreciation for the people who have created or contributed to the things that I love.
Right.
And it's like, it's less of the celebrity of it all, of like, oh my God, you're famous or whatever.
Right.
And more so you your creativity and your art brought joy to my life.
Right.
And I respect and appreciate that.
Yeah. When we were rewatching the Legends ceremony and Joe Rohde went up, I was like, this is like our living, breathing Walt Disney right now.
Oh, Joe Rohde.
Because of like he is a genius.
Yeah.
An absolute genius.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, so
Miley Cyrus.
Oh.
At Legends.
Yeah. I had to really keep it together. Like
did you physically lay eyes on her?
We made eye contact at one point and I had literally like she thought the whole performance was so cool.
Yeah.
And like Hannah Montana was my everything.
Yes,
my
same.
everything. Same. Because also it's like the gayest idea for a TV show ever. Like an ordinary girl who has like essentially a drag persona that's a pop star.
She's a drag queen. Yes, absolutely.
And her speech was just like so
gracious.
Oh my gosh. And like it was
what I loved about it was that it didn't feel contrived. It felt very much her, right?
Yeah.
I loved that she went serious and respectful, but she also went funny.
Yes.
Like when she was talking about, she was like, even legends are afraid. And like but like you get up and you do the thing anyway. And like that was really, really impactful, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But then also when she was like, and then something crazy happened between 2013 and 2016. Sorry, Disney. I was like
hilarious.
I just loved it. That was so cool.
And again, like going back, like she's somebody that has like embraced, like she's not. I get that she had to go through the phase that she did to like say I'm not just Hannah Montana, and so that's when she was like, "They tried to kill me."
Yeah,
just tried to kill your favorite bitch.
Like exactly like that. Yeah. That's a TikTok. We're putting that on the
internet. The other like Dapper Dans they just did. I was like bringing that up. They were like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, oh my God. But no, she was just there as like a human. And so like Hannah Montana is for all of us. And like,
and I think to hear her say like, I am so proud to be Hannah Montana was a really cool thing to say. Right. And I think as a fan, as someone who like grew up watching Hannah Montana and like just how cool that show was and how fun it was. It's really awesome to hear that because it's like this thing that sometimes it sucks when there's something that you love and then you hear from the person who played that character or created that, whatever it was, when you hear like, no, I actually hated playing that character or I hated that show. I didn't like doing it.
Right.
It can kind of dim the magic a little bit for you as a fan.
Well, it goes back to what we were talking about of like, if you don't want to be here, then like, why are you doing this? I will take full like ownership of the fact that when they were they had to recast the voices of Rick and Morty, and I had a incredible voice match audition for Morty, but I was like, don't give it to me.
Yeah.
Like, I would have taken it, and I can say this now because I didn't take it, but like I don't watch the show.
You're not a fan of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I just don't know anything about it, and I'm like, give it to somebody that like actually does, and then it will really mean something to them, And so it was the whole like evening. It was because it was such a like for fans and with the legends there and. Then Martha like thanking us for performing for her and everything. I was just thinking about my own Disney journey and I was like, I want to win a Legend Award.
Yeah.
And then I watched Joe Rohde. He's like, none of us do this for awards. And I'm like, I'm doing this for the Disney Legends Award.
I would like.
Yeah. I want the Disney Legend statue.
Yeah.
I would like to be a Disney legend.
Well,
that's
Honda
the
Center
goal.
will see you again in 20 years.
Yeah. That's the goal. So
no, I get that. Absolutely.
I have one more thing I need to add before we get too far away from this. I'm sorry, everybody. So Friday night, right? This kind of ties into this because it's like the movie. So they'll have like the cast of Agatha, all of that.
Right.
Did you know those people don't get paid?
Oh, like the actors?
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's part of their promo. It's part of their contract.
Of course you know this. Yeah. So I had no idea that they don't get paid for that.
Nope. They don't get paid for those appearances.
Because it's just press.
It's part of their contractual obligations for press for the show or for the movie.
But even like when the Descendants performed at the convention center, like in costume, giving a performance, they don't get paid. It's part of their.
It's baked into their contract,
I guess, but because even with equity, like if you're in a Broadway show, if you perform at Broadway and Bryant Park in like your Wicked t-shirt and you sing Defying Gravity, like you don't get paid. But if you do a costumed performance as that character, you're getting paid. So the fact that they don't, I'm like, that's crazy. I mean, obviously they put you up, they fly you out, they do all of that,
but they don't get paid for red carpets. They don't get paid for press like that. They don't get paid for like the conventions, like Comic-Con, or like just to be on stage. Now, if you are, I'll just bring her up again because we already talked about her, Ashley Eckstein, and you are at Star Wars Celebration or San Diego Comic-Con and you do like the photo op meet and greet stuff, yes, you get paid for that because people pay to meet you.
Oh, but you do?
Yeah. So like if you go to San Diego Comic-Con and you wait in line to take a photo and get an autograph with somebody, you're paying for that. It's usually...
Oh, I thought that was free. I've never been to Comic-Con, so I don't know.
So for the most part, you pay. So you can pay like for just an autograph. You can pay for a photo and an autograph. There's like all different kinds of ways that different people who appear in those capacities do it.
Okay.
So like that kind of stuff, they do make money off of.
Yeah. Well, and I know that if your movie's like premiered, right? Like if you're Jodie Benson and you're appearing as Ariel, like you do get paid for that because you're not promoting
the
movie anymore. It came out 20 years ago.
Exactly. Exactly. So like Kathryn Hahn did not get paid.
That I don't feel like the normal
in the same way as like Susan Egan got paid.
Yeah, I don't feel like the normal person knows that.
Maybe not. We've talked a lot about how amazing D23 was.
Yes.
Can I, as a fan, as someone who did not perform at the event,
because I actually don't even know a lot of the announcements because it was such a crazy weekend with like work and stuff. So I know the park stuff because I watched that whole thing.
Okay.
So tell me.
Okay, Friday night was all of the studios announcements.
Yes.
So film, TV, and it was like Disney Animation Studio, Pixar, you know, Disney Plus stuff, whatever. And then Saturday was all of the experiences, is what they called it, which is like, it was all theme park stuff, essentially.
Except 4 new ships, which was totally not oversold. Like that was just like, oh, by the way, 4 new ships.
By the way, a literal naval fleet of Disney cruise ships.
Literally.
Okay. I've been saving this.
Okay.
I literally texted my best friend, and I was like, I have so much to say.
I can't wait.
I'm probably going to move out of Disney adult and into Disney boomer with this conversation because I have so many.
Okay.
Okay. So they announced all the movies on Friday. Out of I don't even know how many. I lost count. I got angry and stopped paying attention. Out of all of the movies that they announced on Friday night, there are 2 of them that are original stories.
Oh yeah, I know.
Every other movie announced is a sequel.
You know what I don't need? Toy Story 5. You know what I didn't need? Toy Story 4.
And I will caveat that by saying I did enjoy Toy Story 4.
Okay, I thought they were going to give me the fantasy with Toy Story 4 of like Forky and like identity. I thought we were like going to really go there. It was a chop.
I'm trash.
It was a chop. And then Toy Story 5, technology versus the toys. I don't need it.
Here's the thing. The ending of Toy Story 3 was so good.
I know.
And so powerful. We never needed to go back.
Unless you wanted to do a spinoff in the world, maybe. Sure. But like, no, I don't need it.
Nobody needs Toy Story 5. Sorry, I'm just saying it. You know what else we don't need?
What?
Frozen 3. And
didn't they announce 4? Didn't they announce Frozen 3 and 4?
And I said on our like little intro episode, I love Frozen. And I hold true to that.
Did you like Frozen 2?
I loved Frozen 2.
Oh, okay.
We don't need another Frozen movie. Disney is in so many ways like the pinnacle of entertainment.
Yeah.
The fact that we are rehashing these characters over and over and over again, rather than coming up with new stories, is incredibly frustrating to me.
It is.
And for all of these sequels to be announced, and I'm not talking about Freaky Friday because I actually am very excited for that sequel.
Right.
But that's also been how many years ago, right? We're not just doing like back to back to back to back. That's like...
What'd you think of Hocus Pocus 2?
It was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
I just don't think you can ever recreate the magic of that original one. And there's also a lot to be said for the fact that like it was a flop.
Because
then it became a cult classic.
Oh, Connor, the music in Hocus Pocus 2 was great. Thank you, Connor Warren Smith.
You're not incorrect there.
For the ooze.
That is correct. That's why I say it's okay and not bad. The music was good.
Yes.
And I did enjoy like the whole opening with Hannah Waddingham.
That was the best part.
I loved her.
Oh,
I
and
young so much more
and
her.
young Winifred.
Yes.
That's what they should have done. Is just the prequel with her.
The prequel. Yes.
Because that was. So here's my thing. I actually don't mind all of this because this is what happened. This is where I will check you on the boomer thing because this is what they did when we were kids.
Well,
we got
okay,
all
so
those
I have
sequels,
that
those
as well.
straight to VHS.
This is where my research comes in.
Okay.
I told Jacob I did research on this. So I'm bitching to my sister on Saturday about all of these movies being announced. And I said, I can pull it up on my phone. I have the timestamps. I said I would be willing to bet money that the reason all of these sequels are being announced is because these are all franchises that have tie-ins in the park.
Oh, yeah. You know what they're 25 years late on? Monsters, Inc. Land.
Thank you.
Am I excited for it? Am I excited for the coaster? Yeah, but should that have come out?
Late. They announced Mufasa on Friday night. What do they announce on Saturday night? A Lion King Land in Disneyland Paris.
Based off the live action animated.
Mm-hmm. So
I don't want to see a real lion cub on that ride.
I will say I did call that. And I said I would, because I told my sister, I said, I think all of these franchises are going to, it's because all of these franchises have representation in the parks.
Right.
And they're tying in. And my sister is the one who brought this up, which is what sparked my investigative research. She said, we're barreling towards some form of a recession economically right now.
Right.
And she said, I would be interested to know what movies came out in 2006 and 2007.
Oh, you really gave us research.
Oh, I did. Because guess what came out? 2 Pirates of the Caribbean sequels, Cinderella 3.
Yes.
Why? Who needed that? Not me.
Yeah.
There were more original Disney movies. Oh, High School Musical 2 came out in that time as well. So there were sequels happening at that time.
That was actually always
that I thought was an interesting parallel. Was like, okay, she does have a point that in times of economic recession, it is a safer bet to put things out that you know are already successful rather than take a chance on new
because
stories.
then like the gag is that now Inside Out 2 is the highest grossing animated film of all time.
I know. Insane.
What?
Crazy.
That, I mean, okay. Like it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it.
I haven't seen it yet.
What?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my God.
I know.
But like that's just crazy to me that like, because they clearly did not believe in that project if they were so willing to let Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling go and not pay them,
what they should have.
Rate.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So there was only 2 original stories.
2.
One was Pixar one was.
I think they're both Pixar.
Oh, okay.
I believe they're both Pixar. One is called Elio, and the other is called Hoppers. Those are the 2 original projects that were announced.
This is where I will also play the other side of this a little bit and say that because of how hostile the world is, I think that everybody is so guarded and doesn't want to experience new things.
Oh yeah, it's why I watch the same television shows over and over again. And I do think there is an element to that psychologically as well of like, okay, people our age, childless millennials, to an extent, are watching comfort shows over and over again, right? Like I'm choosing to watch The Good Place for the 4th time than watch something new, right? I do think there is a psychological element. I do think that the potential of an economic recession is also definitely at play, especially because when you consider that they're tying in movies with parks, we're trying to drive traffic to the parks just as much as we're trying to drive people to the movie theater. I also think that I think there are a lot of elements to it, but I also think that there isn't. Wait, I lost my train of thought.
Well, what I was just to
you say what you were gonna say, and then I'll get back on the train.
Yeah, because what I was the speaking kind of to like, yes, clearly there's like an economic aspect of it, and we see that with Broadway shows of we're turning every movie into a musical because producers think that is more likely to make
if the
money.
Movie was successful, then the show will be successful. Yeah.
Right, but I just think that like in general, when you look at entertainment and art everywhere, it's all being recycled, a la like Taylor re-recording all of her music and releasing. Like, obviously that was a different thing, but it's like those songs are like charting again.
Well, and we also live in a stage of like we live in a state of nostalgia right now,
right?
Because of things like the economy, because of what we've all lived through in the past few years in the middle of a global pandemic. Like we exist collectively in a state of like pursuing nostalgia and this like yearning for simpler times and happier memories because I mean, not to get like too deep into it, but as an entire globe, we like suffered a collective trauma. Millions of people died. People were locked in their homes in various ways. Like it's a collective trauma. And so born out of that is a need for nostalgia. So I understand it. I guess I'm not going full boomer. I do understand it
because I'm sitting here.
I just wish that I'm looking forward to the day where we can have some new original ideas.
I'm ready for the next Harry Potter. I'm ready for the next series to change my life.
Disneyland Paris is getting a new original land, which is very cool. That was announced in the parks panel. I'm excited to see what that is because I think the things that light me up the most as a Disney fan are the like cutting edge innovative things that the Imagineers come up with, right? Whether it's parks or whether it's studios or whatever it is, like Disney has some of the most creative minds in the world that work for not only their parks, but their studios. And I'm like, I'm itching for what is going to be the next like big thing.
Yeah.
And there are some of these things that I just like, I'm gonna watch these movies, duh. But I'm looking forward to some more originality in the future.
Right, because then like I'm sitting here like saying all these things, but like, you know, a movie I didn't go see in theaters and that I still haven't seen?
What?
Strange World. This is what I'm saying.
And so that's another point of it too, is like, okay, a point of it that I understand is Disney did have a lot of original content. And unfortunately, it came out in the middle of a pandemic. If you think about it, we had things like Soul.
Yeah.
We had things like Raya and the Last Dragon.
Right.
We had things like Onward. Like these types of projects that were original stories that they put a lot of money into got, for lack of a better word, relegated to a Disney Plus release rather than a theatrical release. And I think that it definitely affected the company economically. They were banking on that return from the theaters and didn't get it. So I understand a lot of the reasoning behind it, like from so many different levels, an economic level, a psychological level. I get it. I just want something new.
I get it. Wait, so Friday we had the movies, Saturday we had the
parks. Yeah.
And
oh my God. The park stuff is very cool.
You are happy with most of it?
I am happy with most of the park stuff. Now, I will say
Cars in Frontierland
seems an odd choice, right? To me, it makes more sense to have Cars in Hollywood Studios where the other Pixar land is, right?
Yeah.
Like they already have Toy Story there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Villains Land?
Villains Land. A
gag.
They heard my cries.
Oh, and I saw a meme today. If they do not put the Yzma Kronk roller coaster,
I saw you post that. Yeah.
What are we doing?
An Yzma roller coaster for
like,
sure.
What are we?
For sure.
What are we doing?
Based on, I mean, obviously, concept art changes. Like, it's just a concept. Like, it's really just supposed to like give you the vibe. But in the concept art for the like Villains Land or whatever, there is like the like thorns at the bottom of the castle kind of vibe, like Sleeping Beauty Castle, and it looks like there's a roller coaster track coming out of the thorns. So I think that could also be a really cool take on it, is like Maleficent's dragon like sort of situation, like
Yeah.
in the Briars would be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for that land. I do know, however, a lot of people, and I'm interested to know your thoughts about this. I know a lot of people are very upset that we didn't get any update announcements for Disneyland. But as a Disneyland purist, do you think it's better, like good or bad? What do you think?
I mean, I just think that the big bummer is like Tomorrowland, like Tomorrowland is sad. Yeah. And like I know that this might be controversial, but like Autopia, get rid of it. It's such a massive waste of space. Nobody needs it.
Yeah.
Driving in a car is what everybody did to get here to the park. I don't need to do that again. That's what my friend Andrew said. He was like, I did Autopia, and I was like, this is
you drove to get here.
This is what I did.
And then
today.
You drove around the park?
Yeah. But my view for Tomorrowland is that because when it was made, it was all space travel was like what the culture was obsessed with.
It was like the Jetsons.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that they should pivot Tomorrowland to make it an energy conservation planet. Like,
oh, interesting.
Thing. Yeah. But I do think that they're going to probably see how the whole Epcot thing goes over before they decide, what to do with Tomorrowland. But like Tomorrowland,
she needs some love.
I'm ready to gut like almost all of it.
She needs some love.
Yeah.
I feel like when I think about Tomorrowland, I kind of think of like that scene in The Lion King where he's like, everything the light touches. Like, see that dark, shadowy place? You are never to go there.
Right.
Like, that's kind of how I feel about Tomorrowland. Is like, I don't really ever go to Tomorrowland unless it's like, oh, Space Mountain's a 10-minute wait.
Right.
And then we'll like go into space and leave. And that's pretty much it. Like,
yeah. And like Space Mountain like still has relevancy with like the race to space with like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and everything. But like, I want to go to Tomorrowland and like be like able to like charge my phone on like the railing for a ride. Yeah. Like, I just think like the whole thing. Yes.
You want it to be.
Yes.
Like, you want it to be like Future World and Epcot.
Yes. And this is a whole other podcast another time. But I feel that Disney missed the opportunity and the evolution of the company of not becoming a tech company. I think that Disney should have been the leading
developing tech.
Yeah, because they did. All of the technology they've developed over the years through Imagineering, I think that they should have been like the leader in Silicon Valley of tech. And I don't know why they didn't.
There was talk of like a partnership between Disney and Apple, and I always thought that was so logical.
Well, Apple was apparently going to buy Disney recently, which would have been
don't buy it, but like y'all can be friends.
Yeah. I'm okay with Disneyland at the moment, but like I would have liked an announcement of a new show coming to the Fantasyland Theater. I would have liked a new Hyperion shows. Like, we got no entertainment announcement except for you're getting a new fireworks show.
Well, when I first saw that they had announced a Hercules show, I didn't realize, because I didn't have a live stream or anything to watch. So I'm only seeing what people are posting on like Instagram stories that were like in the Honda Center. So when I first saw like the influencers and stuff starting to post about a Hercules show, I was like, are we getting Hercules at the Hyperion? Like, that's kind of sick.
Yeah.
And then I found out after that it was cruise ship, and I was like, I mean, that's still cool, but like,
well, which by the way, we already had Hercules the musical. That was what Jennifer Hudson did when she was on DCL. So I was like, okay. Yeah. But I do think that what they should do is whatever they put on the ship should be in conjunction with the Broadway show. Yeah. I think that we need to like stop the like, oh, Broadway. Like, we're, I'm like, no, it was like how Six, the musical, was on cruise ships before it even went to Broadway. Yeah. Like, I don't know what I'm over the gatekeeping.
Still there and like still has multiple tours running simultaneously.
The world is moving too fast to like, oh, let's like, let's keep it here first and then we'll just like do it all at the same time. Yeah. But
yeah, no, a lot of the parks announcements were really cool. I just my biggest takeaway from it was like, I just can't wait to be king. I can't wait for something like new and innovative and original, because
100%.
even some of the rides that they announced, like they're adding 2 new rides to Avengers Campus, but the concept art for both of those rides look like the ride technology that has been in Universal Studios in Florida for literally 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah. They're doing the Harry Potter thing.
That's what it looks like. Well, and okay, so they used to have a ride in Epcot like in World, not in World Showcase, in like Future World, that was that like arm technology.
Mm-hmm.
It was only around for a few years, but it was literally in like 2006.
Yeah.
And they took it out of Epcot like 5 or 6 years later. So if they're reusing that, I can kind of understand it, but it does feel very reminiscent of like Forbidden Journey. And then the Thanos ride, which was supposed to be like, we've been waiting for years on this Thanos ride because it's supposed to be like the ultimate ride in Avengers Campus. Just it looks like Star Tours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm the biggest Star Wars fan you probably know, and I don't even ride Star Tours because it makes me motion sick. And I'm like, I don't want a new Star Tours.
Yeah.
I want a cool ride.
Yeah.
That's my rant about that. But
I know. Well, and this is why I am so passionate about entertainment in the park, because it's like, that is the one thing that changes and keeps things fresh. And like, you know, you can only go on some of these rides so many times.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like I miss the days of the park where you could go and do nothing but watch shows.
So moral of the story is, let's just put a nice little button on it. Bring back Mad Tea Party and let me audition for it. Okay, thanks. Bye.
See how we have strong opinions and we're not raging bitches? Very mindful, very cute, very demure.
Very demure. You nailed it. That was perfect. See how we started a new podcast specifically for millennials, but we're not talking shit about other generations? Very demure, very cutesy, very mindful, very respectful.
Rewind to you being like, this is going to be very boomer of me. Well, thank you all for listening to our I would say this is like our first real official episode.
Yes.
But I will say we will not be doing this was like all Disney, but just because of the circumstance.
Yes.
The pomp and
topical.
Circumstance. I think that I'm excited for the fall for us. I think that work is going to turn around and I'm happy to now have, you know, these little gigs here, and like, at least I'm not looking at my calendar like, how am I going to pay my bills?
I don't open my planner and dust comes out.
Yeah. Stop. When you're like, let me check my schedule.
Yeah. You're like, hey, can you hang out on October 14th? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm super. Yeah, I can. Yeah.
So anyway. All right. Well, we'll see you all in a couple weeks.
Thank you all for watching or listening wherever you are. Share this with your friends.
Yeah.
If you think your friends would enjoy it, please share this with them.
Yeah.
Share it on your Instagrams, like post it in your stories, whatever.
DMs are open. Want to hear all your thoughts about the D23. If you have any questions about behind the scenes.
Yes. If you want to yell at us about something we've said, we welcome it. And we will yell at you on the next episode.
Yeah, we encourage respectful conflict and confrontation.
Yes. Respectful being the operative word. Don't be not cutesy.
Yeah.
Be very demure. Be very mindful. Thank you.
Bye.